I don't remember when I came last. I do remember I came in 87 after I came back from US. But then after that, I don't remember when I came. I must have come sometime, but I don't recollect now. I'll move very fast because we've lost some time. My work on other areas of my own research that Professor Leo is mentioning, that is there on the YouTube. The one in Vienna that I've given for 20 minutes, it talks about from particle physics to brain prosthetics. Or you can search by my name, you'll find that. So there are many interesting talks I've given on that area. But right now what I'm going to focus is on technology vision 2035. Okay, let me show the document. Yeah, so this document is I'm going to talk about. This was released by Prime Minister in January in Science Congress. But since I'm sitting in this particular center, one of the statements I've taken out of that book, which says that wars of the future would not be fought at borders but in patent offices. So existence of this center is very important. This is where we are going to fight all the wars, and we are already seeing that happening. Billions of dollars of lawsuits being filed between Samsung and Google and Apple and all kind of things. But as I was mentioned, TIFAC is set up as a technology think tank in 1988. It's autonomous body of Department of Science and Technology. Dr. Kalam was our chairman from 1993 to 2001 before he became president. And we released Technology Vision 2020 at that particular time under his leadership, which happened in 96, just 20 years back. Right now, Dr. Kakutkar, famous nuclear scientist, is chairman. I'm going to start by this, but before I say that, this document is dedicated to Dr. Kalam because we lost him a few months before we launched this document. It was released by Prime Minister. Let me leave out the media coverage part. Okay. What I'm going to start by is first question that came to me when I was about to join TIFAC is that I asked the question that Technology Vision 2035 you are working on. What happened to Technology Vision 2030? Where do we stand with respect to that? Have we made the progress that was envisaged there? And in fact, when I met Dr. Kalam after joining in 2013, he told me that there are still 7 years remaining get the country to reach that vision that was developed earlier. And he told me that Technology Vision 20 TIFAC's baby, take care of it. So what we'll start by is looking back at where do we stand today with respect to the vision that we set for the country. And we have compared that, we have grouped this into 4 categories and compared that to Horse's Gate. So the Galloping India, where India has done better than expected, Cantering India, where we have done along the line of expectation, Trotting India, where we have done slightly worse, and Walking India, where a lot more work has to be done. I'll take a few examples out of this. But look at the leftmost side, the Galloping India part. The 3 in the center are space, nuclear and missile technology, where we have the strategic sectors, we have done wonderful, we have put a lot of money, we have targeted development, we have done. The bottom one is life sciences and biotechnology, where India has done much better than we expected. The top is the telecommunication sector, where actually we have done much better than expected, partly because of global technological changes to which India contributed and India benefited. It was a both-way process. It was not a one-way process, it was a both-way process. India contributed to that, India gained from that. But if you look at the last part of it, the bottommost here is waterways. Waterways, we visualize that 8 to 9% of passenger goods traffic will happen through waterways, but really for 18 years nothing was done. This advanced sensors is another area where we visualize a lot of what will happen, but actually not really much has happened. Most of the other things that you see are healthcare sector, where we are still very poor to what we have visualized. So there's a lot more work to be done. The waterways area, fortunately, with the new government joining 2 years back, a lot of activity has started and focus has come back into this. And National Waterway 1 project has been emphasized, although it was started earlier, but now the focus has come and number of national waterways have been started. So this is the status check. If we look at compare the nature of the 2 documents, the focus of Technology Vision 2020 was on developing India as a country. Of course, we are not saying that we should not develop India as a country, but this time our focus is on Indians. The quality of life of each citizen of the country, that is important. So it's a bottoms-up approach, because you can develop the country. For example, you can say that I will double or triple the GDP, but does not mean that the benefit will reach to each citizen of the country. So top-down approach we have abandoned in this particular case. With a bottom-up approach, we are saying that we must focus on quality of life of each citizen. So that's a major difference. So the document actually starts by talking about Indians and our needs. We have divided Indians into few groups. But before that, I will make a couple of statements that the document makes. It says that there are two assumptions that we are certain will be true. India will continue to be large and India will continue to be diverse. And diversity, we have focused time and again in this document. I'll come back to that again. So we divided Indians that we see in 6 groups, starting from, we have the production lines. These are people, factory workers, office workers. Alternative lifestyle is worked with. For example, India, we've accepted alternative lifestyle for long time, thousands of years. Sadhus, who give up their homely life and go and meditate, and they've done wonderful things. That's the life that was accepted. But there will be other ways of alternative lifestyles. In US, there's a style called off-grid, that you give up city life, you still go out where you're not connected to everything else, but you use other technology to make sure that you're connected to the rest of the world. It's called off-grid life. But there's a very large group, globalized diaspora. I remember when I was going to US in 1981, probably in my village and nearby area, I was the first one to go cross the seas. Of course, Nepal, people used to travel. I'm very close to my village, very close to Nepal, so we don't count that as a foreign country. But today you will see that most of the IT people go for internship even abroad. So there's a large flow of people in and out. There's a lot of people staying abroad. So this is going to large a group of people who are either outside the country or connected globally. So this is globalized diaspora. Then we have creative, innovative, imaginative group. This is a very important group, which is actually really the crux of the whole thing, because if the country is not innovative, then we don't see future, because that's where the patent and other issues come in. So intellectual property is very important. But there's 2 groups here, the left out and left behind, and rooted remote. We still see large percentage. Of course, some of you are very smart in mathematics, and you will add up this percentage to more than 100%. But actually, I must point out that it's a non-exclusive population segment that the person can fall into more than one group. So actually, it can be more than 100%. So don't catch me and give zero me on that. But we look at 3 aspects of human life: security, prosperity, and identity. Security, prosperity, identity. So what you see here is security, prosperity, and identity. These are the 3 aspects of human life that is essential for everybody. And with each of these groups, actually, we have put this little dots here to show the relative needs of this. I'll just focus on one of them. Globalized diaspora, actually, you'll find that this particular dot is largest, which is the identity. The globalized group, the identity needs are highest. Now, identity here is not in terms of my social security number or Aadhaar card number or my name and so on. It is my identity in a broader sense, my food, my culture, my language, and things like that. So you'll find that when you go outside the country, you tend to hold on to the culture, your identity in a broader sense. Somebody might have gone to Fiji 200 years back, they hold on to their food, their culture, language, they come back to their village now, you'll find that everything has changed here. Well, they hold on to what was there 200 years back. When I went to US, the first thing I did was not doing my PhD in nuclear fusion. I was spending less time on that. What I was trying to do was to develop Devanagari fonts. That time computers were, just there, not very friendly computers. But I remember even with those computers, I developed Devanagari fonts so I could write letters back home in Hindi or my native language, Mathli. Or in 1984, Macintosh came in, I developed Devanagari fonts, made it to speak Hindi because I wanted to communicate in my language. When I came back to India, I forgot all of that and started using it. So when you go outside, then you try to hold on to your identity in a broader sense. So that's what. So with this group, actually, we have to look at that aspect. So we've done that for all these different groups. And then based on that, we have a vision statement which talks about technology in the service of India, ensuring the security, enhancing the prosperity, and strengthening the identity of every Indian. We then try to say that let's translate this one sentence, one vision statement into 22 languages that we have. And it was very interesting to see that we could not translate it really. It was not so easy. Just to translate one sentence into 22 languages. Imagine that if a parliament bill is there and it has to be done in 22 languages, how difficult it is. Just I'm talking one sentence. But the interesting thing was that one of the co-authors of the team, Dr. Prabhat, who is a scientist, also Marathi actor, Marathi author, he could do Marathi translation very well because he's part of the team. Then we found that from Marathi to Bengali, Marathi to Gujarati, Marathi to Hindi became very simple. So one of the technology we have mentioned here is real-time translation among Indian languages. Now, if you see the experts from IIT Kharagpur or other places that are working on automated machine language translation, you'll find that most of them will translate Indian language to English and English to back to Indian language. For example, if I have an app on my mobile, I can speak in, say, Hindi, it will translate to Bengali and speak it out, speech to speech. So, for example, if I say, "मैं तुमसे प्यार करता हूँ," to say, "আমি তোমাকে ভালোবাসি." But what it is doing, it is going to English first and then back. So you probably, if I say that, मैं भूखा हूँ, it will say, "I'm क्षुधार्त." So it will speak a very formal language. In many cases, of course, it will mix up. So our focus is this particular, we have mentioned this document, that real-time translation among Indian languages is a key requirement, because today I can talk in that language and children in different languages can understand that in their own way. Like Prime Minister was doing holographic campaign, he could actually speak in one language and he could have translated into other language as if he was speaking their language. So this is technology that we need to work on, and you'll find that there's a lot of scope for that. And Ministry of Electronics and IT has now taken up this. They call it IL to IL, Indian Language to Indian Translation. They are funding this project. When we were preparing this document, we interacted with a large number of people, especially young people, because we found that when we talked to top scientists, they could not talk anything beyond their own area of research. So we took Bhatnagar Award, we called all of them and said that, can you talk of India in 2035? They could only talk about their own research area, nothing beyond that. So it was the young people, we went to various places, including some of the IITs, and we interacted with the young people, like many of you here, and we found that what were their aspirations, what were their desires in 2035, because this document is all for young people. It was their aspiration, their desire that we have captured in this document. So this girl actually looking at her future actually symbolizes this. Now what we have done is that there is infographics here. The infographics capture some of this. I say that if we close our eyes today, to open in 2035, what is the kind of life we want to see? So this is very important. If I close my eyes today, open in 2035, this means that what I'm saying in 2035 does not mean that it has happened all in 2035. It could happen in 2020, it could happen in 2022. So we are not saying when what has happened, we are only saying that this is the kind of life we want to see in 2035 based on the aspirations of a young mind like yourself. Then we have divided all of this in a formal way in form of 12 prerogatives. The 6 at the top are individual, 6 at the bottom are collective. If I look at the first 2, clean air and potable water, food and nutritional security, just now I was visiting a facility here where one of the work done here of arsenic filtering is being translated for commercial purpose. So clean air and potable water is extremely important, but I would just like to mention to many of you, especially young people, that the most important part in our life is air, without which we cannot survive for beyond a few minutes. Without water, probably we can survive for 2 or 3 days. Without food, we can survive for maybe 3 weeks or so. But in our life, our priorities are what? We hanker after food, we pollute air, we pollute water, to the extent that when I was a child, I was not drinking water from bottled water, but now we drink from this. And I hope that we should not come to a situation where we will be carrying bottled air as well. So we have to make sure that while our priorities are right, we must make sure that we take care of the environment and the air and water remains clean. Similarly, all of this, there are 6 of them on the top and the 6 at the bottom, and you will see the cultural diversity and vibrancy has been mentioned there. I'll just focus on each of these, not too much detail because I don't have time. If I look at clean air and potable water, I'll skip this. But you'll see that in the document we have 1.5 to 2 pages of description for each of these, the targets and sub-targets set up for each of these. I'll just highlight some of the points. If I look at food and nutritional security, it talks about every Indian is assured of adequate and nutritional food intake and ensuring adequate food both in terms of calorie and protein requirement irrespective of diverse food preferences. This part is important. Diverse food preferences. So it's not that if I'm vegetarian, I should be asked that you must take non-veg, otherwise your protein requirement is not met. So we must make sure that we respect the diversity of food preferences of Indians, and still we are able to meet this requirement. When I was a child, we had famine in this part of the country, 1964-65. Wheat was being imported, wheat powder from US and milk powder was being imported, and actually in the schools we were fed that. From that, Green Revolution was started, where we focused on production of grains of 100 million tons and so on. Green Revolution took place. Then we found that just producing is not enough. We have to actually distribute the thing. We set up distribution system. And then now we talk about calorie and protein intake. But I must tell you that just intake is not sufficient unless your body can absorb that. So your health conditions must be right to make sure that just intake is not sufficient. And there the lifestyle is equally important. You cannot sleep anytime, you cannot eat anytime. You have to follow proper lifestyle, which as young people we don't follow. And of course IITs are no exception to this. So you see that our whole the clock shifts. Then we have talked about healthcare and public hygiene. You will see that we have talked about medical evacuation services. In case of emergency, we should be able to evacuate anybody from anywhere in the country within 1 hour. Similarly, we have talked about average life expectancy of 80 years, from 68 to 69 to 80 years. We have talked about maternal mortality rate of not more than 15 per lakh and under 5 mortality rate of not more than 6 per thousand. So these are things, but we also talked about integration of the Indian School of Medicine with modern medicine. That means the traditional knowledge that we have, actually we need to combine that with modern medicine. And personally, I'm a practitioner of this. If I had time, I would have really discussed that. But actually, you can go to my blog, Ranjan.in, and you can see some of the miracles that I have been able to do first to myself and then to help others, where the modern medicine had failed. Whereas I could, for example, just to give you an example, I had gallbladder stone. I could remove the gallbladder stone without any surgery. Otherwise, normal doctors will do surgery, remove the gallbladder itself. I removed the stones without surgery, my gallbladder is still there. And I've helped thousands of people. I've helped thousands of people, a lot of people with brain problems, all kind of problems, all because of our traditional knowledge, which I have learned from a German book. So the German fellow came to India to learn Ayurveda. He helped his own problem, wrote his book, devoted his life, and did his own experiment. So our knowledge was taken from somebody else from where I have learned and helped many people. So there is a lot of effort that is needed here. 24/7 energy, I'm not going to talk on this, but Prime Minister has boosted this area tremendously. Decent habitat. If I look at the education, we have not talked about education as a separate thing. We are talking about quality education, livelihood, and creative opportunities. So we are saying that creative opportunity of each young person must be fulfilled. The education system should not be in isolation of that. The few points that I will just mention here, it says that literacy also means being able to operate devices like mobiles and so on, because those are not only communication devices today, they are also learning devices. Similarly, we have talked about delivery of language neutral content to all individuals. So automatic translation is actually part of that. It does not matter which language I speak or I learn in, I should be able to have access to the content in the particular language that I want to use. The last point is very important. It says that teachers will remain central to education system, but their role will change. Teachers will no longer be knowledge givers. It's not that I'm going to come as a teacher and teach on the blackboard or put a projector and teach you, and this is what you're going to learn. Basically, learning will happen from multiple sources. The role of teacher will change, and they'll become a different role they will play. They'll help you navigate the path and not simply learn the knowledge. This is a very important part. The concept of flipped classroom has already come in, but actually you learn outside the classroom and you come back to class to discuss problems and solve doubts and so on. So this is the kind of role that is already starting to happen. Some places might have happened here also. Then we have looked at safe and speedy mobility. I'll just read out the top 2 points. It says access to public transport within 1 kilometer from our home, irrespective of where I am in the country. The second point, it says that no place will be more than 3 hours away from a district headquarters, 5 hours away from state capital, 8 hours away from national capital. This is a vision. Now, how to achieve this? This is left to planners to do it. I will leave out the other ones here. Public safety, national security, cultural diversity and vibrancy. I'll just read out a couple of points here. Diversity in culture and language is the key defining feature of India. In addition to 22 languages that we have, actually we really have more than 800 languages that we speak in this country. Okay? Even within this, you go from Medinipur to Howrah, the language would have changed. And you'll find it difficult, if you're not very expert, you'll find it difficult to understand what they're saying. Even the US, it happened. One of my co-workers in PhD, his father came from Midwest. He spoke English, I didn't understand a single word. So, we are saying that culture diversity is a national asset and power multiplier. And the second statement is very important. It says we would like India to be as advanced as possible technologically, but as rooted as possible culturally. So culturally we must be rooted, but technologically we should be as advanced as possible. And Mahatma Gandhi used to say that let windows of my house be open let wind flow from any direction, but my feet should be grounded. So I don't want ideas to come from any direction, technology come anything, but I must be rooted culture. That's a very strong statement that we made here. Transport and effective governance, I believe about this. Disaster and climate resilience, eco-friendly conservation. So there are 12 prerogatives. We have defined each of these as targets, sub-targets. What we have done then is that we have actually talked about technology to achieve each of these prerogatives. We have made a technology table for each of these. There are 12 technology tables. I'm just giving an example of one of them. There are 4 columns here. The leftmost column is technology which is ready to deploy. Now technology is a global thing, but it may happen that technology is available outside India or within India itself. It may be available in South India, not available in certain part of India. So it has not been used on a large scale. So that is the first column, technology which is ready to deploy. The second column is technology which needs to go from lab to field. This is the area where in India all the large percent of technology developed in the lab dies within the lab. And there's a lot of effort of trying to take these things out of lab and make it commercial. It's extremely important. IT is doing a lot of effort. Government of India is doing a lot of effort on this. Actually, this is a key concern of our situation where most of the technology dies within the lab. The third is technology which needs targeted development. For example, when we are sending something to moon, what we do, if 20 technologies are developed, we have to make sure that all the technologies 20 are developed and they work with each other. In normal research, what we do, it's a scattered effort. Depends on the faculty member, their interest, and the students' interest. Actually, we will do some work, but they don't necessarily add up. So this is where we have listed those areas where we targeted development. And the fourth is technology imagination. This is a very interesting area. We thought there are certain areas where technology may happen, may not happen. It may happen in 15 years, may happen in 20 years, or may not happen at all. But we found that some of them are happening while we were preparing this document. What we thought may happen in 15 years started to happen within 2 or 3 years. The 2 trends are very clear. One is technology is happening at faster rate than we expect. Second is technology diffusion is happening also at a much faster rate. So, for example, telephone might have discovered 100 years back, it might have taken 10 to 20 years for technology to the telephone to reach, say, 1 million people. Today, a mobile phone is launched within 2-3 days. A mobile is sold 1 million devices, or an app, a popular app like Angry Bird or something else that you people like. Maybe within half an hour, 1 million downloads are there. This also means that technology obsolescence is also very high. Many of the young people will not even remember the pagers, for example. Some of us remember pager. We purchased pager, but we don't know where it has gone. Completely disappeared within a year, 2 years, or 3 years time. And I don't even know where I purchased my pager at 3,000 rupees at that time and where it's lying in my house. I'll give you some examples of technology imagination just to illustrate this point. For example, all of you are familiar with the drones. Drones are going to be very much used for emergency supplies to start. For delivery of pizza, probably government may not agree, but that's the ones that you keep hearing. But the emergency supplies, which in the next couple of years will start to happen very fast. This is a technology called Hyperloop. Are all of you familiar with Hyperloop? How many of you have heard Hyperloop? Few of you have heard. So actually, this is a technology by which we evacuate a tube, and actually it's very low pressure. You actually push a vehicle, it's called a pod, at 1200 kilometers per hour. Okay. So for example, you can reach from here to say Calcutta airport in less than half an hour. Okay. And this Elon Musk conceived this idea. We thought that it may happen in 15 years, 20 years, but in Russia, Putin is behind this. He wants within 6 years to be implemented in Russia. First for goods and then for passengers. But we are not behind. Actually, our Minister Nitin Gadkari has gone and met Elon Musk and actually offered Mumbai-Pune expressway to try this out. So we are not behind Putin, and we are actually competing for this. So this may happen in the next 5-6 years time, which we did not expect. This is a scene from a movie called Ex Machina. And actually, you can hear a talk and in fact set of discussion we had that we organized on 10th February 2015 at TIFAC Foundation Day. It says the title was Future of Brain, a race between mind and machine. So I worked on brain-computer interface. Very interesting discussion, all them in the YouTube. And this actually is telling that maybe in 10 years, the computers backed by artificial intelligence may start to develop feeling, consciousness, and so on. It's a very debatable thing. The debate we have done in that particular YouTube series, if those of you are interested, you can look at this. So this is a girl, Eva, actually, who in the movie they show that she started to develop feelings. So actually, the computer and brain are connected with each other, and it will happen that technology and neural dust is coming in, through which actually your brain will connect it to cloud, and you will start to do things which are unimaginable. So right now, if we do brain-computer interface, we connect to a computer through a neuro headset or something like that, Now it will happen that brain will directly connect to network, and it may happen that I need to borrow, some of you are very smart, I want to borrow your brain for 3 minutes. I'll pose the problem to your brain and get the solution back. So maybe I'll borrow Einstein's brain if he was around. And not only that, we are also talking of brain being downloaded into computer, digital download. It's called digital immortality, where we will survive, our physical body will die, but your digital counterpart will survive. It's a very interesting discussion going on this. This is showing actually body and machine combined together. So this gentleman actually is a real person who lost his hand. Now he did not want a prosthetic hand. He actually he had a tattooing machine. So he's combined machine with his body. So body and machine are combined together. Brain and computer are combining together. Body and machine are combining together. So this gentleman is trying to integrate a drone to his body so that he can actually fly. Like many of you imagine a child that I want to fly like a bird. So he's actually trying to make it possible by combining this drone with his body. This is a gentleman using an exoskeleton, actually carrying heavy load. Now actually this is being used already in Japan, in warehouses and so on, to lift heavy loads. Some of you can actually pick up that technology, make it cheap, and a lot of porters, coolies that we have across the country, you can supply them with this so that they can carry heavy load. About 8 hours you can run on battery actually, so 8 hours the person can carry a heavy load without putting much burden on his or her body. And so this makes it very simple. Similar things are coming up which will make you run at a very fast rate without putting too much pressure on you. This is showing the future of education. Again, a lot of opportunity here. Textbook-based education will go away, virtual reality, augmented reality will come in. And so a lot of content movement from textbook to virtual reality, augmented reality will happen. And a lot of opportunity here actually for young people to involve themselves. And there's millions of your textbooks we have, actually all of this needs to be translated. The medical thing is already happening, and all the engineering fields also this will happen. This is saying that we interact with our environment through voice. So the touch screen and everything will go up, actually you'll do more of interactive voice response. You'll see Amazon has Alexa, Google has Google Home. All of these are actually starting to interact with things. And we have Siri, we have other things that you will see in the mobile phones. All of these are actually they're showing way forward, that will be interacting in a more natural way with the environment. This is a driverless car which you are already familiar. What we thought will happen in 10 years, we already started to happen in Pittsburgh, Singapore, and probably a few other cities already it's been implemented and trials are going on. This is a very interesting one, a dog-like robot. Actually, you will see that it can help you